Let me ask you something. You work hard. You save money. You do everything right. And one day, you finally do it. You buy the house, the one with the backyard, the good school district, the extra bedroom for guests, or maybe a baby someday. You sign the papers, you get the keys, you take the photo for Instagram, and everyone around you says the same thing. Congratulations! You're building equity now. You're not throwing money away anymore. You're doing the smart thing. So you smile. You feel proud. You feel like you finally won. But here's what nobody tells you at that closing table. The real cost of that $500,000 house, it's not $500,000. It's closer to $1.1 million. Let that sink in. That smart investment you just made, the bank just made a quiet deal with your future self, and your future self had no idea what was being signed away. Now, I'm not here to tell you that buying a house is always a mistake. It's not. But I am here to tell you that the way home ownership is sold to you, the stories, the social pressure, the American dream narrative, is one of the most psychologically powerful financial traps in existence. And it's not your fault. This trap was designed long before you were born. Here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to break down the actual numbers behind a $500K home purchase, numbers your real estate agent will never put on a whiteboard. Then we're going to dig into the psychological reasons why smart, educated people fall for this every single time. And finally, I'm going to give you a real framework, not fluff, not just don't buy coffee, but a concrete way to think about whether buying a home actually makes sense for you right now. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. For millions of people, the house they bought to feel financially secure is the very thing keeping them financially trapped. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you may completely change how you see the biggest purchase of your life. Let me introduce you to Marcus. Marcus is 32. He makes $85,000 a year. Good job, stable. He rented an apartment for years, saved up, and finally, after years of wasting money on rent, he bought a 3-bedroom house in the suburbs for $490,000. His mortgage payment? $2,850 a month. Totally manageable, he thought. 6 months later, his HVAC system dies. That's $7,400. 3 months after that, the roof starts leaking. Another $9,000. His property taxes go up. His HOA fees go up. He can't afford to go on vacation. He and his wife stop going out to dinner. The house feels less like a home and more like a second job. But here's the part Marcus can't say out loud. He can't tell anyone it was a mistake because everyone told him he was doing the smart thing. His parents are proud. His coworkers congratulated him. He put it on Instagram. The narrative is already set. So Marcus smiles and says, "Yeah, home ownership is great. It's a lot of work, but totally worth it." And the cycle continues. Sound familiar? Because Marcus is not alone. According to a survey by Bankrate, nearly 2 in 3 millennial home buyers have regrets about their purchase. 2 in 3. That's not a minority. That's the majority. The regrets aren't just financial either. They're emotional. People report feeling trapped, unable to move for new job opportunities, constantly anxious about the next repair bill, fighting with their spouse or partner about money more than ever before, feeling like they should feel happy but secretly feel suffocated. There's a woman named Priya. She's a teacher in Atlanta. She bought a $420K home in 2021. Now, 2 years later, she's been offered her dream job in Austin. But she can't take it because in a cooling market, if she sells now, she'll lose $40,000 after agent fees and closing costs. She's literally stuck. Her dream home became a geographic prison. And then there's Derek, 28 years old, single, bought a condo because it's better than renting. He's now paying $600 more a month than he was paying in rent. His investment account? Frozen. No contributions for 18 months. He calculated that if he just kept renting and invested that difference, he'd have over $25,000 in the market by now, money that would have been working for him instead of sitting as theoretical equity in a depreciating market. Here's the real pain. It's not just the money, it's the identity. We've been taught that owning a home means you're a real adult, a responsible adult, a successful adult. So when the house becomes a burden, we don't question the decision, we question ourselves. We blame our spending habits, we blame our salary, we blame anything except the story we were told about what home ownership actually means. And that's exactly where the trap gets its power. Okay, let's do the math that nobody does for you. You buy a $500,000 home. You put 10% down, that's $50,000 out of pocket. You take out a $450,000 mortgage at a 7% interest rate on a 30-year fixed loan. This is not a crazy scenario. This is 2024. Your monthly payment? About $2,995. Over 30 years, you will pay back $1,078,200 in principal and interest alone. That means the bank, quietly, politely, legally, will collect $628,200 in interest from you. That's more than the house itself cost. For the first 5 years of your mortgage, the majority of every payment goes to interest, not equity. You're essentially renting money from the bank. But wait, we're not done. Add property taxes. In most American states, you're looking at roughly 1 to 2% of the home's value per year on a $500K house. That's $5,000 to $10,000 annually. Over 30 years, conservatively, another $150,000 to $300,000. Add homeowners insurance, roughly $1,500 to $2,500 per year. Over 30 years, that's another $45,000 to $75,000. Add maintenance and repairs. Financial experts universally recommend budgeting 1 to 2% of home value per year for upkeep. That's $5,000 to $10,000 every year. Over 30 years, another $150,000 to $300,000. Let's add HOA fees if applicable, often $200 to $400 a month, another $72,000 to $144,000 over 30 years. And don't forget closing costs when you buy, typically 2 to 5% of loan value, so $9,000 to $22,500, and agent commissions when you sell, typically 5 to 6%, so $25,000 to $30,000 on a $500K home. When you total it all up, conservatively, $1,078,200 plus $150,000 in taxes, plus $45,000 in insurance, plus $150,000 in maintenance, plus $54,750 in transaction costs equals $1,477,950. You paid nearly $1.5 million for a $500,000 house. Now, yes, the home will hopefully appreciate. In the last 30 years, U.S. home prices have increased an average of about 4% per year. That sounds great until you account for inflation. Adjusted for inflation, the real annual return on residential real estate is closer to 1 to 2%. The Yale economist Robert Shiller, the guy who literally won a Nobel Prize for studying housing prices, found that over the 100-year period from 1890 to 1990, inflation-adjusted home prices barely moved. The idea that a house is a great investment is, historically speaking, more myth than math. Here's the comparison nobody makes. If, instead of putting $50,000 down and paying $2,995 a month toward a mortgage, you'd rented for $2,000 a month and invested the $995 monthly difference plus your $50,000 down payment into a simple S&P 500 index fund averaging 8% annual returns. Over 30 years, your portfolio would be worth approximately $1.8 million. Not the house, the investment portfolio. Now, let me be fair. That's a simplified comparison. The renter doesn't build equity, the homeowner gets tax benefits in some cases, markets vary wildly by city and by decade, and renting has its own costs and instability. But the point is this. The home ownership always wins narrative is not supported by the data. It depends enormously when you buy, where you buy, how long you stay, and what else you do with the money. Let's also look at history. The idea that every American should own a home became official government policy in the 1930s. The Federal Housing Administration was created in 1934, Fannie Mae in 1938. The 30-year mortgage was invented to make homeownership feel affordable. These were Depression-era tools designed to stimulate an economy that had collapsed. Then, after World War II, the GI Bill supercharged suburban homeownership. Companies like Levitt and Sons built entire towns from scratch, cheap, identical houses in the suburbs. Millions of veterans moved in. The culture narrative solidified. Home equaled success. Renting equaled failure. That story has been repeated so many times across so many generations that most people have never stopped to question whether it's actually true for them in their specific circumstances right now. And the real estate industry, a $3 trillion per year machine, has absolutely zero incentive to help you question it. So if the math doesn't always work out, why do so many smart people keep buying homes they can't comfortably afford? It's not because they're dumb. It's because our brains are running software that was written for a world that no longer exists. Let's break down the exact psychological traps at play here. Trap number 1, loss aversion and the throwing money away myth. Behavioral economists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky proved that humans feel losses roughly twice as intensely as equivalent gains. When someone tells you that you're throwing money away on rent, it activates your loss aversion at a primal level. Your brain screams, do something, fix this, stop losing. But here's the truth. Rent is not money thrown away. It's money exchanged for shelter, flexibility, and freedom from maintenance costs. The emotional framing of rent as waste is manipulative and incredibly effective. Trap number 2. Social proof and identity anchoring. We are deeply wired to follow the tribe. When everyone around you, your parents, your friends, your coworkers, is buying homes and celebrating it, your brain registers non-participation as deviance. It triggers social anxiety. What's wrong with me? Why am I falling behind? This is called social proof bias, and it causes people to make million-dollar decisions, not because they've done the math, but because they're afraid of what it means about them if they don't. Trap number 3, cognitive overload and decision fatigue. The home buying process is deliberately overwhelming. You're flooded with paperwork, legalese, deadlines, competing offers. Your brain, already exhausted, defaults to trusting the agents, the bankers, the mortgage brokers. These are the very people who get paid more the bigger the transaction. Under cognitive load, people stop analyzing and start complying. That's when the most financially damaging decisions get made. Trap number 4, present bias. We are hardwired to overvalue the present and undervalue the future. A house right now feels real, tangible, safe. Compound interest on an investment account in 30 years feels abstract, distant, almost theoretical. So we choose the house every time, even when the math says otherwise. Trap number 5, scarcity mindset and FOMO. Buy now or get priced out forever is one of the most effective sales lines in real estate. It triggers scarcity thinking, the fear that if you wait, you lose your chance permanently. This same trigger was used during the 2005 to 2007 housing bubble. Millions of people bought homes they couldn't afford because they were terrified of being left behind. We know how that story ended. The truth is, markets move in cycles. Patience is a superpower, but scarcity mindset makes patience feel like cowardice. Okay, so now you know the lie, you know the math, you know the psychology. What do you actually do with this? Here are 5 concrete shifts and frameworks you can start using immediately. Shift number 1. Use the 5-year rule and actually mean it. Real estate only starts to make financial sense if you stay in a home for at least 5 years, ideally 7 or more. This is because transaction costs, buying plus selling, eat an enormous chunk of any appreciation in the early years. The framework, before you buy, ask yourself, can I commit to this city, this neighborhood, this life situation for at least 7 years? If the honest answer is probably not, don't buy. Not yet. The flexibility of renting is worth more than most people calculate. Shift number 2. Calculate your true monthly cost before you commit. Here's a simple formula. True monthly cost equals mortgage payment plus property tax divided by 12 plus insurance divided by 12 plus maintenance budget of 1% of home value divided by 12 plus HOA. On a $500K home at 7%, that's roughly $3,800 to $4,200 per month in true costs. Now, compare that to your local rental market. Is a comparable rental $2,400 per month? Then ask yourself, where does that $1,400 to $1,800 monthly gap go if you buy? Because investing that difference can produce extraordinary long-term wealth. Shift number 4. Decouple your identity from your address. This is the most important mindset shift. Repeat after me. Renting is not failing. Owning is not succeeding. Both are tools. You choose the right tool for your situation. Warren Buffett still lives in the Omaha house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He could live anywhere in the world. He chooses not to because he understands that wealth is built by investing capital, not locking it inside bricks and mortar. When you stop attaching your self-worth to what's in your driveway or whose name is on a deed, you free yourself to make genuinely rational financial decisions. Shift number 4. Run the rent versus invest numbers honestly. The New York Times has an incredible free rent versus buy calculator. Use it. Plug in your real numbers, local home prices, local rent, expected tenure, investment returns. The results will shock many of you. For people in high-cost cities like San Francisco, New York, or Austin, renting and investing the difference often dramatically outperforms buying, especially in the current rate environment. For people in lower-cost markets like the Midwest, buying often does make sense after 5+ years. The tool is neutral. The math is honest. Use it. Shift number 5. If you do buy defensively. If you've done the math and buying still makes sense for you, great. Here's how to buy without setting a trap for yourself. Keep your total housing cost under 28% of gross monthly income. Most mortgage advisors will approve you for more. They are not your financial advisor. They are your lender. Save a 20% down payment to avoid PMI, private mortgage insurance, which costs $100 to $300 a month and builds zero equity. Build a dedicated repair reserve of 1 to 2% of home value in a separate savings account before you close, not after, before. Buy below your approval limit, always. The bank will tell you what you can borrow. Nobody will tell you what you should borrow. That job is yours. Here's the bottom line. A home can be a wonderful thing, a place to raise kids, build memories, feel stable. None of that is fake. But those things are personal benefits, not automatically financial ones. The lie isn't that houses are bad. The lie is that buying a house is always the smart financial move and that renting is always throwing money away. When you see through that lie, you stop making decisions based on fear and social pressure. You start making decisions based on your numbers, your timeline, and your goals. That is when you actually start winning. Section 6. Closing and call to action. Before you go, I want you to think about one thing. The most expensive financial decisions in your life are rarely made with a spreadsheet. They're made with your feelings, your fears, your need to feel like you're keeping up, moving forward, doing the right thing. The 500K house lie isn't really about houses. It's about the stories we tell ourselves about what success is supposed to look like and who gets to define it. Your job, starting today, is to question those stories. Do the math. Not the emotional math, the actual math, and then make the decision that's right for you, not the one that impresses everyone else. If this video opened your eyes, smash that like button. It helps more people find the truth. Subscribe if you want content that actually tells you what nobody else will. And drop in the comments. Are you a renter, a homeowner, or someone who's questioning the decision right now? I want to hear your story. See you in the next one.